Please give me a shout if it's working now. Just fix some settings. Hopefully it does now. Oh, thank you, mate. Thanks for the feedback. That's fucking beautiful. So after talking for 10 laps and having a fucking therapy session for myself, we're now here to go for it. Tiny still in the lead, but of course he's still on medium tyres, so he needs to pit. Harvey in the net lead in P2, 1.6 behind him now. Frenzy now out of the pit box on cold soft tyres, but they will heat up pretty quickly and they can use them for some points positions here. He's followed by Mick Schumacher. That shouldn't be a huge problem for him. And everyone should have done all the pit stops now. Yeah, just Tiny left. And Harvey with a comfortable gap at the moment. Tiny's maybe hoping for that safety car to come out. But at the end of lap 10, he should be pitting now. Otherwise, it's too crazy. Frenzy with a little oversteering moment on the exit of that turn. Let's have a look. We got the closest gap between a driver and an AI. I think it is actually Stroll and Sevillers. Within DRS range and Robert Reeder and Pierre Gasly at the front. Castor and Chinchilla maybe. That's a close one. Tiny coming into the pits now for his pit stop and putting on some soft tyres. Castor moving up to P2 because of that. Where is Chinchilla? Where the fuck is Chinchilla? What happened to him, mate? He must have spun. What the fuck? So Castor up to P2, but a 7-second gap to Harvey. That's too crazy to get it back within 3.5 laps. And Max Verstappen is following his best friend Lewis Hamilton. So let's see what we'll get down here. It's just 2 tenths between those two. Frenzy is closing the gap a little bit to Chinchilla right now. But he needs to push really hard. to get him in the end. Good thing for him is he's in the points, so 1 point at least to his name right now. As Max has DRS on Lewis Hamilton. Is he going down the inside for a late move? He's not a Denny Rick breaker, so he's staying behind. Going on to first gear. Chinchilla is closing in with big steps. 10th by 10th. The Castle's actually closing the gap to Harvey, but it won't be enough. It was 7 seconds on 5.9, but he won't make it, unfortunately. Only if Harvey makes a biggie. Oh yeah, that could be spicy between Lewis Hamilton, Max, Chinchilla, and Frenzy maybe. Civiliers in the meantime overtook Stroll. Sector 3, yellows. That's... who is that? That's Eskimo probably. Having a moment. Verstappen is still close behind Hamilton. They're losing a lot of time. Chinchilla's getting closer and closer. Down to 9/10 the gap now. And Frenzy's gap to Chinchilla down to 1.5 with 2.5 laps to go. This story is not over yet. Yeah, you're right. A race to forget for Eskimo. The only thing that's saving him is the reverse grid format, so he will start on pole position our next race. That's the only thing that's keeping him alive on track here. Sector 3 yellows, that's an Alfa Romeo that might be Shermanator. Yeah, he's losing time. He's going to get eaten alive by Gasly and Robert Weeder now. Oh, it's close. It's a fight. It's a fight. We're going for it. Robert Weeder right behind with the ERS. No ERS for Shermanator left. Robert Weeder down the inside. And a Denny Rick moment. Ooh! That was nasty. Gasly with 5 seconds. Shermanator almost made it. With a nice fake. Now he has the DRS, but he's completely low on ERS. Robert Weeder too, to be fair. Oh, Spinalla. Robert Weeder with a spin. That means Shermanator back in P16. And we're going to jump back to Frenzy, Chinchilla, Verstappen and Lewis. Having a little fight here for the last few points. To be fair, Chinchilla is not really closing the gap. He's between 9/10 and 1.2 seconds. He's not getting too close. But Frenzy on softs, he should still have good tires. But on the other hand, it's tricky. It's fucking tricky to get them. It's 1.5 seconds Eskimo in the pits. Is he actually pitting or is he retiring? There he is. There he is retired. That's a Red Bull. That's a Red Bull. Who the fuck is that? That's Max! Holy cow! Max Verstappen is out of this race. Which means Chinchilla up by 1 position, Frenzy 2, and Max is out. He just gave up on the last few meters. Last lap now, and Max said goodbye. I'm out, my friends. Frenzy up to 2 points, Tiny now into the points. And Tiny is actually half a second behind Frenzy. What the hell is going on? Harvey cruising in the lead. We're going to jump back to him as soon as he crosses the line. But right now we're staying here with Chinchilla, Frenzy and Tiny. And to be fair, Tiny on all soft tires, he lets them work. He's on it. Well, sometimes you're just on the piss and not on the right tires. He's in the wall too. So P9 is safe for Frenzy here. Sevilla's jumping up a position. P10 for him. That's how you mess up your race tutorial. And is Frenzy maybe getting the DRS on Chinchilla here for last jump? But Chinchilla also has the DRS on Hamilton. Let's see if he goes for a massive dive. But Hamilton himself has DRS on Lando Norris. And they're completely done on ERS. Holy cow. And Harvey, yeah, I lied. Harvey crossed the line without me being on him. Harvey wins that race in China. Very dominant performance. Castro jumping up to P2. Albon crossing the line in P3. Leclerc P4. Alonso P5. Norris in P6, followed by Hamilton, Chinchilla, Frenzy, and Sevillers, who's coming around the last corner in P10, getting the last point here. Followed by Stroll, Mick, Tiny, who's now down to P13, and Gasly, who's in the hairpin right now with a 5-second penalty, but he's not really bothered. No points for him, and the gap to Shermanator is 18 seconds. He's crossing the line right now, jumping on board the Shermanator for the last few corners of this race here in China. Last quarter for him. He's crossing the line in race number 5 in RGL in China. Castro is your driver of the day for making up the most positions in this race. He's on the podium too. It's a good evening for him here in China. But Harvey is your winner of this race here in China after dominant performance. Cruising home in P1, Castro in P2, and Alex Albon in P3. Williams completely off the charts here. They're celebrating podium after podium. Never happened in real life in the last 15 years, but fuck me, it's gone down. Some fake chicane, let's go. Yeah, when was the last time Ferrari was on the podium? Not this year. So here we go. Harvey in P1, Castro in P2, Albon P3, finishing up the podium positions. Fastest lap also for Castro. And there we go with P4, Charles Leclerc, then Alonso, Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton, Chinchilla, Frenzy, Sevillers getting the last point. Stroll, Mick Schumacher, Tiny, Gasly, Shermanator, and our DNFs are Eskimo, Verstappen, Robert Vidu, and De Cunha. And to be fair, I don't know if Robert Vidu really DNF'd. I think he finished the race, but the boys will look that up and get it into the formation for the grid for race number 6. That's coming up within the next 5 to 10 minutes. I'll mute myself like I did for the first 10 laps of this race and have a blast on my shisha, and then I'm back in 5 to 10 minutes to talk to you again and give you a headache. Welcome back, everyone, for second race of the night, round number 6 at Kota in the USA on this not so beautiful track. Some might agree, some might disagree. It's a bit cloudy, to be fair, so hopefully we'll see some rain. That could be some spicy, nasty shit. All the drivers have one race in the bank for tonight. A few DNFs. I think 3 or 4 DNFs, so they want to make it better in this race. So let's see what they can produce here on this track. Fortunately, the settings allow them to put on the racing line to see at least where they have to go and where to brake without any assist. This track is absolutely horrible, but it is what it is. And King Eskimo is starting from pole position, followed by Shermanator, Gasly, Tiny, Schumacher, Stroll, Sibelius, Frenzy, Chinchilla, Hamilton, Norris, Alonso, Leclerc, Albon, Castro, Harvey, Robert, Verstappen, and D'Cunha in P19. Right. Most of the P7, 17 are starting on the medium tires, and we're still available for each driver. Eskimo finished that race as last, but I think he still got classified. That's why he's starting on pole position. D'Cunha clearly enough, Max Verstappen 2, Robert 2 then obviously. So they're starting from the back. And then Harvey, our race winner, starting from P16, and Castro right in front of him, P15. And this should be a nasty run up to turn 1, to be fair, with 19 cars in that braking zone. That is maximum stress. But fortunately, we don't have to drive here. We can watch them do it. That's the nasty and funny thing about it. Eskimo pushing pretty hard on his formation lap here to warm up his tires. Coming now down to the last corner and getting his fronts and rears heat up a little bit before he finds his grip position in P1. Heartbreaking for him here. He needs to find the right spots, and he obviously found it, so no disqualification from the formation at all the grip positioning here. Shermanator in P2 also there next to him. And we just wait for the next drivers to form up, and then we're going to watch them all getting up that little hill there into turn 1 and see what will happen. The last car is now on the grid. And they have 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights going out right now. And Eskimo, just could see a little bit sleeping here at the start, and that's him in the wall. I think Gasly touched him a bit. Eskimo already in the wall, jumping on top. Shermanator here. Let's see what's going on here. There's a little bit of movement here. It's the Red Bulls. It's Castro and Max Verstappen, tingling, tangling, and Harvey already up to for him, as they're all now in the S's and somehow need to get the car through there. Jumping at the front, Tiny in P2, right behind Shermanator. Maybe he's going for an attack early after the long straight and the slipstream, and with the help of Iris, I think he's already next to him. And that's Tiny already up to P1. Using all of his ERS, of course, but he's down the inside. He has the overtake completed right now. And that's P1 for Tiny early in this race. Sevilia's getting the overtake against Pierre Gasly for P4 on his medium tyres. And Sector 2 has a yellow flag. Who is that? Just a quick one, so maybe not too much damage there. But Tiny in the lead, 7/10 gap. He needs to extend that ASAP. What we have to keep in mind is, of course, the weather. It's pretty grey and cloudy right now. Frenzy and Harvey making up positions. Frenzy up to P6. Harvey in P8 at the moment. Oh, Mick is taking back the position against Frenzy. Frenzy taking it back to him. You know what? We're going to jump on board here. Oh, it's Harvey coming from Mick down the inside. They touch. Ooh la la! Monsieur au chocolat. That's a lot of fucking movement and touching here. But Harvey up to P7 now. Robert Guido getting P9 against Alonso and P8 against Mick. He's following Harvey on his medium tyres. Let's have a quick look at the position changes. Harvey and Robert Guido both made up 9 positions. Where's Castro? He made up 3 right now. Alonso against Mick, who already lost 5 positions. But yeah, Castro needs to regroup and attack again. Sector 2, yellow flag. That's an Alpine, I think. That is Chinchilla. And Roboito says goodbye. Spinning the penultimate corner at the exit of it. Now the exit of it before the penultimate corner. Out of the long right-handers down to P17 for him now. Let's have a look here. Frenzy, Gasly, Stroll. Frenzy down the inside makes the overtake stick. Beautiful one. Up to P4 for him against Gasly and Stroll. But now he needs to push hard to stay within the DRS of Sevillas to fight against Gasly and Stroll on that big straight coming up. Sevillas himself won't have DRS on Shermanator in P2. And Tiny has a gap of already 1.6 seconds, so he's clear of the DRS of Shermanator. And Frenzy needs to push now. But he's already down on ERS, as you can see. So he needs the DRS to just stay in front of Gasly and Stroll behind him. Harvey in P7. Let's jump on board with him to see if he can make up a position here against Stroll. We had that moment on this straight with Stroll and Alonso last season, and Harvey's going down the outside over the sausage curbs. That's nasty. Inside for the next one, and there's still a lot of touching between him and Stroll. And Stroll is still there. Holy cow. They touch again. Stroll might be there too. Oh, he's pushing Harvey now. Yeah, mate. You get what you give. So Harvey up to P6 after a little fight with Stroll, and he lost DRS on Pierre Gasly for the moment. Frenzy himself lost the DRS. Oh, and Stroll turned Harvey around, I think. It's called payback, and Harvey is down to P12 now, and Castro up to P8. That's crazy, and Charles Leclerc has gone for an overtake against his teammate here, down the inside. Harvey trying to brake later, get the traction on now, and overtaking it back. Yeah, he does it. P12 for him. Castro in P8, and now it's reversed between those two. Stroll laughing in P6 of that incident that happened there. And Castro is getting closer to Alonso in DRS range already. And Sevillas going for an overtake against Shermanator here. Down the main straight, he has the DRS at work, but Shermanator, he can still go for it down the inside. Nice thinking of it. He's not doing it. He got his teammate right behind. Maybe thinking of him, giving him the DRS on the next straight. Frenzy up to P4, Civilia's up to P2. Harvey up to P11 now, overtaking Albon. And Castro up to P7 against Alonso. Shermanator and Frenzy will both have the DRS on Civilias. That's good for both Alfa Romeos, of course. They're too far away to go for an attack here. 3 seconds for Robert Widu. That's not the sound of the police, that's just the sound of Mashisha. And now Shermanator lost the DRS on Civilias big time. He lost a whole second to him. And to be fair, now he needs to let Frenzy go because he's under attack from Pierre Gasly. And it seems like Frenzy has more pace than Shermanator at the time. Oh, nice input there. Undercut from Harvey. Yeah, definitely. That's a good shout. Down to P18 now because of his pit stop. And Frenzy's still behind Shermanator. He's losing time here behind him, to be fair. That's not so good. He's trying to take a cleaner line to get more speed on the exit here. Or is he going for an overtake around the outside? They should be fighting, to be honest. Their teammates and Frenzy at the moment has more pace. And they're losing time against each other here. And Shermanator's now coming in. Gasly is following him. Frenzy up to P3 now because of those two pit stops. Tiny is also coming in. So Frenzy's up to P2. More people are coming in now at the end of lap 5 of 14. So the softs might go down pretty easily here. The gap between Civilias and Frenzy is up to 3.7 seconds. And let's have a look at Harvey, where he is. He's just on the main straight. It seems like that Harvey might have gotten a wing change. Otherwise, he would be a lot more... Oh no! Oh no! He's ahead of Castro all of a sudden. Castro was ahead of Harvey on track, and now he's behind him. So it's either the undercut that worked beautifully, or Castro maybe had a wing change. That's some weird shit. Fact is, Harvey is ahead of Castro by more than 2 seconds. Gasly gets Shermanator. That's also a spicy one, because Frenzy still needs to pit, and he was fighting in that group together with Shermanator and Gasly. We have Civilias staying out, but Frenzy is coming in now. So we'll see where Frenzy will end up after his pit stop. Stroll and Alonso also coming in, Leclerc is coming in, and Hamilton is coming in. Tiny in P8 crossing the line right now for P3 on track, but net P2 I think it is. Or is it P1? Let's have a look. It is net P1. So let's see where Frenzy is. Frenzy is ahead of Gasly and Shermanator, and that worked beautifully for him. He got both, like, Gasly was behind it, but he got Shermanator with his overcut this time. Of course, his tyres are colder now. He needs to get them up to temperature and attack. He got Max Verstappen a second in front of him, but Max didn't pit yet. Robert Widu didn't pit. Lando Norris didn't pit. And I think he will get them all, which means he will end up in P3, net P3. We have to see what happens with the pit stops. Sector 1 yellow flags, that is Chinchilla, I think. Oh, that's a safety car. That is a safety car. And that is mad. That is fucking mad. Because that means that Lando Norris could stay in the top 3, top 4 positions. Seville's in the pits now. Safe. He will stay in P1. Because the gap to Lando Norris was that big. And to be honest, Lando Norris needs to pit. Maybe Tiny wants to pit too. Oh yeah, it's a double stack. Both McLarens coming in. Tiny will pit for soft tyres. Oh, this is a double stack for sure, but the gap to Roboito is big enough. Where is Frenzy? Frenzy's on the main straight now. He will overtake Tiny, definitely. Sevilla's already out of the pits, so Frenzy's in P2. Where is Tiny? Where will he end up? That's P9, P10, P9. Ooh! That's not so good. Because all the other cars stayed out. He's going down the order, P12. But he's on softs. P13, oh my god. But he's on softs. Will those softs be that much more better than the mediums? That is the question for him that he needs to answer. Best case scenario for Sevilla, of course. He has pitted from mediums to softs in one stop under safety car conditions. Best case scenario. Frenzy on fresh mediums. And the good thing for him is he has Gasly and Stroll behind him on fresh mediums, I think it is. Let's have a quick look. Yep, they're all on mediums, and Harvey is also on mediums. So Harvey's pace is great, but maybe it's not good enough to catch Frenzy and Sevilla. No extra pit stops right now. Everyone's staying on the tyres. Chinchilla now catching the pack. Only Eskimo behind in Sector 2 right now. He still needs to catch the pack, but he probably will at the end of this lap behind the safety car. It seems like the safety car will come in at the end of lap 9. So we have a showdown of 5 laps here in Texas. But first of all, Eskimo needs to catch up. Question is, how aggressive will Harvey be at the restart? Is he going for the overtake against Stroll and maybe Gasly into turn 1? Can he do it safely without any damage to his car? And safety car will be in this lap. So Eskimo will catch up to the field. He has the long straight ahead. And the safety car will be very slow to this section of the track, so Eskimo will catch up, and his tires are probably on temperature. All the other ones are struggling with temperatures in their tires, Civilians can make the pace. He's on softs. Best case for him. The safety car's now in the penultimate corner. So Eskimo will catch up to the field now. He timed it to perfection. And we're going to jump on board with Harvey here. Civilians is going now. Oh, we have Chinchilla. Oh, Harvey outbraking himself. Chinchilla not making the restart in time here. He has some issues there. And Harvey is going for the overtake against Stroll down the inside now, definitely. Yeah, he's braking a tiny bit later. Well, he and his friend Stroll, they're going at it. So Harvey P4, Gasly ahead of him, 1.2 second gap. Lando Norris against Alonso here. Castro up to P6. Castro is pushing hard. He's also on medium tires, fresh ones of course. Guido with another time penalty to his name. And Sibelius already has a 1 second gap to Frenzy. And Harvey is pushing. Castro's also pushing off, but Harvey is pushing really hard here to get into the DRS window of Gasly. The DRS will be activated on lap 12 or 14. And Castro's pushing with DRS. He will probably go down the inside. Stroll is braking very, very late. Outbraked himself, and Castro uses that. P5 for Castro right behind Harvey now. This is a spicy one. Oh, forget what I said. Never mind. Who gives a shit? Castro is done. See you later, mate. So Harvey P4 right behind Gasly in this DRS now. And Gasly's gap to Frenzy is already up to 1.8 seconds. Sibelius is the fastest lap. He's pushing really hard because he knows that Harvey is somewhere behind him. Harvey down the inside against Gasly. Ooh, he makes the Frenchman nervous. No doubt about that. But it's P3 for Harvey. 2.7 behind Frenzy. We have Celebus 1.445 behind Sibelius. Ooh, Harvey, that is not the track, my friend. Well, he's probably driving without the line, so I'll give him props for that. Guido collecting as many penalties as Gasly is collecting points here. Yellow flags in sector 2. Who is that? Eskimo, I think, or Chinchilla? Who is that? It is Eskimo. It is Eskimo. And Harvey is getting closer to Frenzy, and Frenzy needs to start pushing now. It's 3 seconds. Does Harvey maybe have damage? Maybe slight damage? It seems like he has a little bit of understeer and oversteer on the exit of corners. Or it's just the track that he doesn't like. Guido overtaking Stroll and Alonso here, P7 for him. Tiny in P6 already. He was in P13 at the restart, so his softs are working. But I'm afraid, it's not enough for a podium here. Sector 3, yellow flags. That's Eskimo again, I think. He's unfortunately having a stinker. The gap between Frenzy and Harvey stays the same. I'm a little surprised. Like, positively surprised. And Harvey's actually losing a little bit here. Maybe he really has some damage, or it's just that he drives without the line and this track is not his. Tiny is getting close. Oh, De Cunha DNF'd in the pits, I think. Tiny is in P6 and he's getting closer to Lando Norris, to his teammate. Only 0.8 of a second. Frenzy managed to close the gap by 2 to 3 tenths to Sevillas now on the last 2 laps. But Sevillas are still safe from Frenzy's DRS here. Both made up 6 positions each. Harvey made up 13 positions. Where's Castro right now? Castro is in P5. Okie dokie. So Tiny pretty close behind his teammate. Frenzy with the penalty. That's a biggie. That's a biggie. And that's a big shout for Harvey here, who's only 3.3 behind. It's an extra push for him. As Tiny goes side by side with his teammate Lando Norris for P5 down or up to to turn 1. Clean overtake by him. Gasly next. Of course, Frenzy will be pushing really, really hard now. Sector 1, yellow flag, Shermanator. Down to P17 for him. A moment at the exit of turn 1. And Tiny is pushing really hard to get Gasly to 8.5 tenths of a second. That means DRS for him, but he's low on ERS. Where is Lando? He's on 50% ERS. But Tiny needs to make sure to get Gasly between himself and his teammate. No chance to do it right now, but look at that. Frenzy is within DRS range of Sevillas. That is mad. He needs to be. He needs to get the DRS to get a tenth or 2 of Harvey. It's a 3-second time penalty, and the gap is exactly 3 seconds. The DRS will help him now. I think Sevillas won't be fast there. Frenzy's really going for an overtake here because of the 3-second time penalty. But if you want to win a race, you want to win it on track, to be fair. Tiny is really close behind Gasly now. Up to turn 1. Still behind him. He will try next time on the big straight. Save a little bit of ERS to get him. And Frenzy is really close behind Sevillas. Maybe also losing a little bit of time here now. As Harvey manages to get closer. Will we another time penalty? Sector 2 yellow flags. Is that a Ferrari? That is Harvey! Are you kidding me? Harvey had a big moment. Tiny with a 3-second time penalty. Holy fuck. What are you doing, boys? What are you doing? And Frenzy is now safe in P2. Holy cow. Tiny DRS on Gasly. Is he going down the inside? He needs to. Oh, he's going for the outside move. Will he make it? Will he make it? Oh, Gasly's still there. Gasly's still there. Tiny outside. Making it smooth. Making it work. P3 for Tiny. But he has a 3-second time penalty. That is not that good. A Frenzy only 3/10 of a second behind Sevillas. To be honest, massive performance for Frenzy to get that close to Sevillas in the end, with Sevillas being on soft tyres. But it's P1 for Sevillas, Frenzy P2. Tiny will cross the line in P3, but he will go down 2 positions, which means P3 for Gasly, P4 for Lando, P5 for Tiny, Stroll in P6, Harvey in P7, Alonso in P8 after Roboito's penalties. He's going down the order. Alonso P8, Mick P9, Charles Leclerc P10, Castro missed the points by 1 position. P12 Max, P13 Albon, big pile up here. Okie fucking dokie. That's Alonso. See you later, mate. Chinchilla P14, Hamilton P15, Roboito P16, Shermanator P17, and Eskimo crossing the line right now in P18 in his Williams. Absolute madness at the end of this race. Harvey still getting driver of the day, with his performance making up, I think, 8 or 9 positions. But for me, drivers of the day are definitely Sevillas and Frenzy. both with a very, very good performance. Sevilla's winning this race. And Frenzy in P2, Gasly because of the penalties. In P3 in his AlphaTauri. Now they're going to spray some... Oh, hello Kevin Magnussen. Some fake champagne for all of those podium setters here. So here we go, final results. P1 for Sevilla's, fastest lap for him. Frenzy P2, Gasly completing the podium. Then Norris, Tiny, Stroll, Harvey, Alonso, Mick. In P10, Charlie de Grec, Castro P11, then Max, Albon, Albon, Chinchilla in P14, then Hamilton, Robert Wido, Shermanator, and Eskimo. Only DNF is D'Cunha in his AlphaTauri here in Texas at COTA. So thank you all for joining, for leaving a lot of comments in the chat. I like that very much. Thank you also for the shout regarding the audio. That helped a lot. I wish you all a great night, a great start into the new week, and we'll hear from each other next Sunday when we are on 2 new tracks for round 7 and 8 in the RGL League on F1 22. Thank you and good night.